Good day, everyone. I am here to present to you the BJT and the FET compare and contrast. The BJT is a type of transistor in which current flow is due to two types of charge carriers, namely electrons and holes. A BJT consists of three alternating layers of p-type and n-type semiconductors materials of two p-n junctions. When p-type semiconductors materials is sandwiched between two n-type layers, the bipolar junction transistor is known as the NPN transistor. When n-type layer is sandwiched between two p-type layers, the resulting BJT is known as the PNP transistor. The circuit symbol of NPN and PNP type bipolar junction transistor are shown in Figure 1. The BJT has three terminals, namely emitter, base, and collector. Each of these terminals is connected to each layer of the BJT. Here, the emitter and the collector layers are heavily doped. The collector layer is doped lightly than the emitter. The middle layer is the base of BJT that is most lightly doped. Transistors are current operated devices where a much smaller base current causes the large emitter to collector current, which themselves are nearly equal to flow. The most common transistor connection is the common emitter configuration. Requires a biasing voltage of AC amplifier operation. The collector of the output characteristic curves can be used to find either LB, IC, or B, to which the load line can be constructed to determine a suitable operating point. Q with the variation of base current determining the operation range. Transistor can be used as an electronic switch to control devices such as lamp, motors, solenoid, etc. Inductive loads such as DC motors, relays, and solenoids requires reverse bias flywheel diode placed across the load. This helps prevent any induced back generated when the load is switched off from the damaging transistor. Requires a biasing voltage as the amplifier operation. So the NPN transistor requires the base to be more positive than the emitter, while the PNP type requires the emitter is more positive than the base. The flow current in the field effect transistor is due to only one type of charge carrier. It's either the hole or the electron. For this reason, they are known as a unipolar transistor. Based on the channel between the source of drain provided for the current to flow, the FET is two types, namely the N-channel FET and the P-channel FET. In case of FET, there is no PN junction between the source and drain. The gate region of FET is made from alternate semiconductors materials and compared to the channel between the source and the drain terminals. Field effect transistor or FET are the voltage operated devices and that can be divided into two main types: the junction gate devices called GFET and the insulated gate devices called IGFET, or most commonly known as MOSFETs. Insulated gate devices can be subdivided into enhancement types and depletion types. All forms are available in both N-channel and P-channel versions. FET have a very high input resistance, so the little or no current MOSFET flows in the input terminal, making them ideal for the use of electronic switches. The input impedance MOSFET is even higher than the GFET due to the insulating oxide layer, and therefore static electricity can be damage MOSFET devices, so care needs is to be taken when handling them. So FET have very large current gain compared to junction transistor. They can be used as ideal switches due to their very high channel off resistance, low on resistance. These are the model of field effect transistor or the FET. Here are some comparison between BJT and the FET. Full form, so the BJT stand bipolar junction transistor, and the FET, so field effect transistor. Definition. So the BJT is the transistor in which two types of charge, namely electrons and holes, conduction is known as the bipolar. So that is the BJT. And the FET is a type of transistor in which electric fields is control the flow of currents. Semiconductors is known as the field effect. So these are the tables comparison between the BGT and the FET. So field effects transistor can be used to replace normal bipolar junction transistor in electronic circuits, and simple comparison between FETs and transistors stating both their advantages and their disadvantages are follows. So thank you for listening.